thought that this project couldn't turn into any more of a joke, I had to wake up and see this on my computer screen. It looks like there's going to be yet another popular DC superhero fighting for screen time in what was, oddly enough, originally intended to be a sequel to Man of Steel. The movie that is now titled Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. And the hero that I have in mind is Aquaman, who it has been announced is going to be played by Jason Momoa. Okay, well, how does this fare as strictly a casting decision? How do I think Jason Momoa fits the character well? Oddly enough, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, yeah, some might argue that isn't he a little too Hawaiian to play Aquaman, who is, I don't know, predominantly white? But then the real cynical smartass side of me said, well, Hawaii is surrounded by water. But you know, aside from that, Aquaman, aside from the fact that he is Hawaiian, Jason Momoa does have the build. He does have the right type of figure to play Aquaman. I think he seems. I mean, from the pictures I've seen, he seems pretty comfortable with. And from what I've seen him in, he seems pretty comfortable doing a lot of the physical stunt work, you know, like in Game of Thrones and in Conan, or Conan, whichever you prefer. And yeah, I don't really have a huge problem with Jason Momoa as Aquaman, even though for the longest time I always envisioned him more as Lobo. I mean, I think he could be really fun as Lobo, but you know, I digress. Jason Momoa as Aquaman, just based on concept alone, I don't really have a huge problem with it. I mean, it is not nearly as problematic as casting Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor or Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Which, by the way, if you've seen her photos of her figure, even after working out for months, you will not be impressed. She looks probably that much bigger. So, once again, complete miscast. You know, it really is just this big joke at this point. It's a big joke on DC fans. And you know, I was saying this back when they announced Batman vs. Superman. Because you know, and with every casting choice and with every detail that they drop about who all is going to be in the movie, and with every comment made by the filmmakers, it is becoming more and more apparent that the people behind this movie just really don't care about the material. They really don't care about the characters that they are going to portray. They don't care about accurately portraying them. They don't care about making audience members care about them. All they care about is money. That is all they care about, is money. And that is the main difference. And that is one of the primary reasons why Marvel is doing so well, and the DC cinematic universe, or I shouldn't even call it that. It's one movie thus far. But why the DC cinematic universe is doing so poorly in terms of fan reception, because and why the way they are going about it is the wrong way to do it. Here's the difference. Marvel gave basically each individual superhero his own movie, his own movie before jumping to the Avengers. That way, you got to know each one of these superheroes. I mean, yeah, so a lot of it was for commercial reasons, like give each hero his individual movie and make more money that way. Yeah, but from a character perspective, it worked because you got to know each individual superhero before you shoved them all into one movie. That way, it was all the more meaningful. I was mentioning this in my Avengers review. It was all the more meaningful when you saw them interact, because you got to know these characters before going into the team-up movie, which is how it should be. And even back in the 90s and the early 2000s, you know, Warner Brothers Animation, when Bruce Timm and all them were doing Batman and Superman. Batman the Animated Series premiered in 1992, and Superman the Animated Series premiered in 1995, I believe it was. Okay, so those two characters did not team up until partway through Superman the Animated Series. Okay, that's about 4 or 5 years of properly establishing those two characters before you throw them into a movie together. Okay? Or an episodic story arc, whatever. And like I said, the creators of this movie clearly do not give a crap about the heroes that they are going to represent. In fact, I detect a certain amount of disdain for the superheroes and comic book heroes in general from the likes of David S. Goyer and even Zack Snyder. Because you know what David S. Goyer had to say about She-Hulk? I'm sure I'm kicking a dead horse by bringing this up at this point, but David S. Goyer, scumbag that he is, he basically equated She-Hulk to an extension of the supposed male empowerment that goes with the character of the Hulk. She-Hulk is the one that Hulk gets to bang, and so the male empowerment of the Hulk extends to being able to bang She-Hulk. Do I even need to comment on that? First of all, She-Hulk is the Hulk's cousin. You moron. And I'm not even a big She-Hulk fan. I'm not even a big Hulk fan, and I know that. And you might be saying, well, you're just a fanboy, and you're just a comic book geek or a comic book character geek, or some internet guy. And to that I say, well, this is the guy who is going to be writing for comic book characters, and he doesn't even completely understand. He doesn't even respect the source material. And I know he's not going to be writing for the Hulk, thank God. But also, let me direct you to what he said about the Martian Manhunter, which he probably is going to get to at some point. Because let's not forget, the two heads of what will presumably become the DC Cinematic Universe are Zack Snyder and David S. Goyer. Two hacks. I got a text message. I'm not going to answer it. But yeah. Yeah, what was I even saying? Oh, the Martian Manhunter. Well, David S. Goyer, first of all, he said he had an audience. He said, "How many of you have ever heard of the Martian Manhunter?" And he got some light applause from the audience. So clearly you have some fans in the audience of the character. I mean, Martian Manhunter is a fairly popular character. He's been with Justice League for decades. And then Goyer followed that up by saying, "Okay, now how many of those people have ever been laid?" And then, as if that was not bad enough, he said, well, we can't call him the Martian Manhunter because that's just goofy. We can call him the Manhunter. And right there is where you reveal your true colors, Goyer. Call it a slip of the tongue or having that mental filter off if you want, but he has revealed his true colors and his true feelings. The way you disrespect your fans like that, I mean, they're only going to be the ones that are going to make you money. I mean, yeah, we don't have to respect them. We don't have to respect the integrity of these characters. These characters have only been around longer than I have. I don't have to respect them. It's just disgusting. And getting back to, I apologize if I've gone a little bit off track here, but But the movie itself, let's do a head count here. We have Superman, yeah. We have Ben Affleck as Batman. We have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. We now have the theater actor, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, as Cyborg. Okay. And now we have Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Okay. Some of these... Oh, and the villain apparently is going to be some street punk version of Lex Luthor, who is going to be played by Jesse Eisenberg. Okay, so... again, some of these casting choices I can actually get behind just based on casting alone. Okay, Ben Affleck, I don't have a problem with as Batman. Or at least not at this point in his career. Jeremy Irons, I don't have a problem with as Alfred. Jason Momoa, I don't really have a whole lot of problems with as Aquaman, aside from his ethnicity, which, they've worked around that before. I don't have a problem with some of these casting choices. I do have a problem with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman and Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, but that's beside the point. The point is, this movie is just becoming so jam-packed with superheroes that are completely unestablished at this point, or at least on film, that this movie is going to just be a mess. It is going to be a mess. And once again, I convey to you that the guys over at Warner Brothers, Zack Snyder and David S. Goyer, do not care about these heroes. They don't care. I mean, yeah, they've said they're probably going to do solo movies of these heroes after Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, but again, the cat's out of the bag. You've already done a team-up movie with heroes that general audience members know nothing about. Mainstream audiences, if they know anything about Aquaman, it's the numerous amount of jokes made about him. If they know anything about Wonder Woman, it's just that she has a really hot outfit. If they know anything about Cyborg, they might know him from Teen Titans, the TV show Teen Titans. But the Avengers. Imagine if they had made Iron Man and then skipped directly to the Avengers. We would not know who any of these people were. We would just be bombarded with all of these otherworldly concepts, like Asgard and super soldiers and Shield and the Hulk. That is what this equates to. And now with Superman, with Dawn of Justice, which is still a dumb title, you are going straight from Superman and the supposed realistic portrayal of the character, which turned out to suck. You're going from that to Amazons, like Greek Amazons, which actually no, they're not going to be Greek. They're going to be Kryptonian, like as stated by Zack Snyder, I believe it was. You're going to have a dark and brooding vigilante over in Gotham City. You're going to have the King of the Sea, who has command over all of the denizens of the sea. You're going to have a guy who is half man, half machine. Just to name what they've announced so far. What else are they going to throw into this movie? Anything else you want to throw in? You want to throw in Plastic Man, or how about the Joker team up with Lex Luthor? Or you want to throw in Green Lantern or the Flash? And even the title shows that they have no faith in the character of Superman. They are still riding the coattails of Christopher Nolan's excellent Dark Knight trilogy by calling the movie Batman versus Superman. in what was originally supposed to be a Superman sequel, you were putting Batman's name before the main character, or who is supposed to be the main character, showing that they have no faith in the character of Superman. They have no confidence in the characters that they are writing for. They're just... And I'll tell you why it was pushed back to 2016 is because they literally do not know what to do with these characters, because they do not know anything about them. They do not understand these characters. They do not understand that, you can't go for a gritty, realistic style movie like the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, and have that translate out to something as otherworldly and as fantastical as the Justice League movie. It just does not work. It does not work. Or at least I cannot see it working. And this really shows the limitations of the filmmakers, because David S. Goyer and Zack Snyder, all throughout the Man of Steel, they were trying in vain to replicate the contemporary realistic setting of Christopher Nolan's again awesome Batman movies, the Dark Knight trilogy. They were trying to apply that to Superman. Again, there's a reason it worked for Batman. It's because Batman is by his very nature a very different hero from Superman. Superman is supposed to be a more lighthearted superhero than Batman, and he wasn't. Good God. Yeah, I went off on a tangent. I barely commented on Aquaman. I'm sorry about that, but in concept, I don't mind the casting choice. But I can say that about Jeremy Irons as Alfred. I can say that about Ben Affleck as Batman. It's just the fact that he is stuck in this movie just depresses me. And Jason Momoa has actually been rumored to be a part of this movie for a while now. Rumors were starting to go around. Is he going to play Doomsday? Is he going to play Martian Manhunter? Is he going to... And we now know, Aquaman. Aquaman, again, purely in terms of casting, it's okay. But, really, what are you going to expect him to do in a movie that is already a jam-packed joke?